Hello, folks, and welcome to NL Now. We have a great show for you tonight with singer, songwriter, guitar player Ian Foster, and an interview with Jeremy Eaton from CBC. Before we get to that, I want to remind you of our CD giveaway. All you have to do is email us at nlnowlive@gmail.com. We have some great CDs from our musical guests we've had here on the show, and winner gets them all. And also, don't forget about our Janeway fundraiser this year, May 28th at the Regatta Boathouse by Kitty Vitti from 12:30 to 4 o'clock. We will have a silent auction, canteen, a spin wheel, and some very special celebrity guests and musical guests. Tonight is our 14th episode here on Rogers TV, and we are starting to wrap up our season. We have 2 shows left for Season 1, and I am happy to say that we will see you again for Season 2 this fall. Don't forget to check out our website, www.nlnow.ca, for all our past episodes, info about what we'll be doing over the summer. You can also check out our guest selfies we have taken, and click on our contact page, send us a note or some feedback. We would love to hear from you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Foster.
Seems we have reached a critical call. I'm sorry. I haven't played this one in a while. Let me try that again. Cool. Seems we have reached a critical call. A selling point, a Berlin Wall. Down an American highway, the road empties out to a piano unplayed in an empty house. I wanted to believe that the weather was done, but the clouds overhead tell me we should run. I've been scratching and digging and dancing around these words on a page that would hold their ground. But it seems we're just in for the same. Feels like it wants to rain. Feels like it wants to rain. Well, if it's bred in the bone, if it runs in the blood, how do we not see the storm before we stood in the flood? If we're free to climb to higher ground, why not take my hand and not choose to drown? Well, I guess we just took ourselves in vain. Feels like it wants to rain. Feels like it wants to rain. Well, we're long past the Bible now, we're into the brush. Long past the gold and into the rush. We are closer than ever, yet fear an embrace. Just rebel hearts growling while we're looking for grace. We keep changing and changing, but the lesson is the same. Feels like it wants to rain. Feels like it wants to rain. Well, we walked in hope down these ancient alleys, born of a time before our sweet follies. Our love was one red room, sweet girl, when suddenly around us was this world. And I feel like you and I have been framed. Feels like it wants to rain. Feels like it wants to rain. Oh, and good hearts cannot take the blame. Feels like it wants to rain.
Foster, folks. And that was great. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So can you give us a little bio on yourself, where you were born and where you grew up?
Absolutely. I was born not too far from here, just in downtown St. John's, and have lived in, again, not too far from here growing up, just in this part of town. So I've always lived in Newfoundland and been playing music for much of my life. And even though I tour quite a bit now, and so I'm away from the island, I still call this place home.
Was music a big part of your family growing up?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, my grandfather could play by ear. He played the mandolin and the accordion. I still have both of his instruments at home. And I learned quite a bit from him and my Uncle Eddie as well.
So do you play any other instruments besides what we see here today?
Yeah, I play harmonica and I play piano as well.
Okay. So when do you first remember hearing music and saying, wow, I want to do that someday?
That's a good question. Hard to pinpoint one moment, you know. Music was always just really important. You know, I do remember when I was really young, I used to go into Radio Shack in the Avalon Mall, and I would play all of the keyboards that they had until the staff told me to stop playing. And so my parents took that as a hint. They said we should get him a keyboard for Christmas one year. I was probably about 10 years old, I think, when that happened. Yeah.
So us here at NL Now heard that you are soon releasing a new album. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
That's true. It's called Sleeper Years. And it's coming out on May 5th, actually, and the CD release is on May 7th here in St. John's.
So could you tell us a bit about your release party you're going to have?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be at the Ship downtown in downtown St. John's on May 7th, an early show, 8 o'clock. And we've got some special guests, and Melanie O'Brien, who I know has been on your show before, is playing a set. She's opening up. And also Maggie O'Connell, who is a new young artist, is also playing at the show. So it'll be a really great night.
Sounds like a very fun night. So now I heard you have wrote a song for the amazing Ron Hines. How was that experience?
Yeah, well, I actually wrote a song with Ron Hines way back from my first album in 2007, my first solo album. And he was a mentor to me over the years. So it was sad when he passed away a little over a year ago. And of course it was a pretty crazy thing. I'm sure you heard that all the power went out in downtown St. John's when he passed away. And people often said, you know, Ron, it's like he turned off the lights, you know, after he passed. And so I was living in downtown at the time, and so I wrote this song for him sort of around that experience.
Now, Ian, for my favorite part of the show, we're going to take a selfie.
Oh, sweet.
So I'll go get the selfie stick.
All right, awesome.
Okay. Oh, here we go. See my nice NL Now phone case on the back. Everyone can see. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming in, Ian. We are going to hear a bit more from Ian later. To the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in our interview chair, CBC's Jeremy Eaton. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Gary. How are you doing?
Good. So how are you today?
I'm doing really well, man. I'm doing really, really well. Thanks for asking.
Well, thanks for coming in to chat with us.
It's actually my pleasure. Big fan of the show. I am one of your subscribers on YouTube. I watch a few episodes. I've seen a few of my friends and colleagues here. I think you're doing some good work, buddy.
So how did you get into journalism?
I was looking for a job. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I was living in Italy at the time, and I heard about a school in Toronto that might accept me. So I applied, I wrote an exam, and I got in. And then I got an email. So while I was living in Rome at the time, and I got an email, and it said, "You've been accepted into the program." And I said, "Cool." But I didn't read the rest of the email, and the rest of the email said that you were supposed to send them a reply to say that you would accept the position in journalism school, and I didn't do that. So I got really excited, and then like 2 weeks later, I went back to the email, realized I had to click on it, and then I got kicked out of journalism school before I even started. So then a couple months later, they let a few more people in. I got added back, and then I left Italy and I moved to Toronto in 2007, and I graduated in 2009. Did an internship at the CBC, and I've been there ever since.
Well, friends, I guess you can learn a little lesson from Jeremy. If you get an email to go to a journalism school at Toronto, please reply. Don't make Jeremy's mistake.
Don't be an idiot like I was.
Yeah. What do you like most about your job at CBC?
I've had the pleasure, Gary, of not only I'm from St. John's, I was born in Carbonear, but I'm from St. John's, but I've had the pleasure of living and working in Grand Falls, Windsor. I was in Labrador City for a bit. I was in Corner Brook for 4 years, and now I'm in St. John's. So because of my job, I've been able to travel all over Newfoundland and Labrador. And my favorite part of the job is getting to meet all different kinds of people from our great province and telling their stories to our TV audience.
You get to meet a lot of great people, I guess.
I do get to meet a lot of great people.
Purple felt guys.
Like you.
Yes.
Handsome devils like you.
For journalists like yourself, do you go out and look for your stories, or are they assigned to you?
Sometimes if I'm working a TV shift and we show up, it'll get assigned to us. So, this is the list of the stories that we have today. Mark Quinn, you do this. Terry Roberts, you do this. Megan McCabe, you do this. Jeremy, can you do this? And I'll say, sure thing. But lately, in the last year or so, I've been working evenings and weekends. So I've been going out and finding my own stories. So usually I'll pitch something to somebody, to one of the bosses. They'll accept it, and then away we go.
Now, does Jeremy Eaton keep a blooper reel when he messes up sometimes?
I think, actually, Gary, and I hate to brag, but I am a 2-time winner of the CBC's Blooper of the Year Awards. So I won it in 2013, and I recently won it in 2016. Because I'm a video journalist, so I'm behind the camera, I do all my filming and all my editing. We have these special cards, memory sticks, so all my bloopers are there, so I make sure that I save them all the time. Because I think that people in this business that I'm in shouldn't take themselves so seriously sometimes. And let's just say, the final product that you're seeing on the end of the reporter talking to the mic, that's always the best one. There's could be like 10, 20, 30, 40 of those until you get a good one.
I have quite a few bloopers where I've messed up.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you have a blooper reel?
Well, no, but I guess sometime we should show a few of my
I think you
bloopers on the
should. I
show.
think people would like that. Especially like if Alan Doyle was here and he messed something up. People might get a laugh out of that.
Yes, I'm sure. From one interview to another, what's one tip you can give to people?
I think, Gary, when you're interviewing somebody, you want them to tell you the story. And sometimes we do personal stories. Like I took a helicopter back in November when the roads washed out there in Terra Nova National Park. So we took a helicopter into Morrisville, a small community there in central Newfoundland. And we met people whose houses have been sort of devastated by flooding had come in and it tore off the shed, tore cars away, tore the house apart. So I was trying to interview her, so I was trying to get her to tell me, how she felt. And I was trying to, because we didn't have a lot of time, because we had the helicopter, it's expensive. So we landed, and her and I had a quick chat, but I was trying to get her to open up and to convey how heartbroken she was that her and her husband had worked all of their lives to have these houses. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is you just got to try to connect with somebody and try to get them to open up with you. And it's hard because sometimes you got lights like you have here, you got a big camera, you got a big microphone. So sometimes it's hard to get people to open up. So you try to relate to them, I guess. So rather than being an interviewee, interviewer, and you just go person to person.
Now, if you could give our current government here in Newfoundland and Labrador one piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow, that's a tough question. You're really peeling back the layers here, Gary. I think the current government needs to sort of plot the way forward a little bit better than I guess it has been done sort of in the past. Because we don't have all the oil money before, I think we have to find new innovative ways of doing things so that we make the province better, so that when Gary grows up, it's still the province that we all know and love.
If you could pick one person, dead or alive, to sit down with face-to-face for an interview, Who would it be and why?
Well, I was a big fan of a guy named Hunter S. Thompson. He did what was called gonzo journalism. He was in a movie where Johnny Depp played him, but he also wrote a bunch of books about American politics and following the American political race in the 70s, and he was a pretty bizarre guy. So I think I'd like to sit down with him and just sort of chat about his life's work. He passed away in 2005, so yeah, but I think he's probably the guy. He's the reason I wanted to become a journalist.
Okay, Jeremy, now we're going to play a little game called Get to Know Me. I will ask you 5 questions, and you'll get back with the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay, I love games.
Okay, your favorite color?
Green.
Your favorite food?
Chicken.
Favorite TV show?
I've been watching The Sopranos lately, so The Sopranos.
Who would play you in a movie?
People have said I sort of look like Tobey Maguire, so I guess he would have to play me in the movie.
Okay, and your favorite song to sing out loud to when you're alone in your car?
Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
With technology constantly growing, can you imagine what it would be like to do your job now without a cell phone or internet access?
That's a good question. Oftentimes, when I talk to some of my older colleagues who have retired, they used to edit tape to tape. So they would do TV interviews, and they would go and they'd have to take all the raw tape, and then they'd have to sort of record it from one slice to another, from one VHS to another VHS, just to do it. It was very time consuming and hard. And also back, I guess in the early to mid 90s, when there was no cell phones, if something happened, you had to call people's home phones, which I know many people don't have home phones. So I think our business now, journalism has become more now. Everybody wants things right away. Before, if I wanted to go to the Northern Peninsula, say in 1985, to do a story, I would drive up, I'd gather 5 stories, film them on tapes, drive back, and spend the next few weeks editing. When I was in Corner Brook, if something bad happened in the Northern Peninsula, we would drive up, I could take my camera, I could put the memory stick into a computer or laptop in the car, I could type it, edit it, and send it over the internet. So what used to take a week, now we can do in one day. I can't imagine doing without a cell phone, but can I tell you one thing? I would happily throw my cell phone in the ocean if I could, and never have to, because I get hundreds of emails every single day. So I know it's changed it for the better, but sometimes I wish we could go back to a simpler time when we didn't have contact all the time.
Okay, Jeremy, now it's selfie time.
But
so
first,
grab the selfie stick.
Let me take a selfie.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming in, Jeremy.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Now, with one more song to close out the show for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Foster.
You left a song in the stones of Solomon's Lane, a song at the bar of the Rose, a song in the water under bridges you burned, a song for a lifetime that goes. You left a song with the dogs roaming the streets, a song for running out the door. You left a song in the honor of an island in tears, a song on the ocean's floor. So tell me, how did you make them all shine, even in the darkest night? How did you break so many hearts just by turning off the lights? You left a song on the ice, a song in the cards, in the eye of the needle's sting, a song in a young man's rambling shoes, a song at the heart of things. left a song in the rooms of your empty home, a song on a distant shore. You left a song on the step as you were walking away, to show us there could be more. So tell me, how did you make them all shine, even in the darkest night? How did you break so many hearts just by turning off the lights? So tell me, how did you make them all shine, even in the darkest night? How did you break so many hearts just by turning off the lights? Just by turning off the lights.